Today's show is brought to you by State Farm agent Brian McDevitt. Here's the deal. When you combine State Farm home and auto insurance, save an average of $889. State Farm agent Brian McDevitt is ready to help you combine home and auto, save in Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. Call Brian today at 630-796-2662. That's 630-796-2662. Or visit his website, ryanismyagent.com. That's ryanismyagent.com. And make sure to mention Sports Talk Chicago. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. You know, I just thought about this yesterday. What more does Allen Robinson need to prove? What more do the Bears need to see before they decide, hey, you know what, we'll pay you? I know the NFL's a business, believe me. I understand they're far away in negotiations, there's bargaining. I get it. But at this point, haven't we seen enough? Haven't the Bears seen enough? If you don't know what you're getting in Allen Robinson by now, let him go. I'm not kidding. If you're still confused and you don't know what you have, let him go. Because it's obvious to me, it should be obvious to you, that he's a bona fide number one receiver, and he should be paid as much. See, the Bears found a way to get Robinson for cheap. He did a good job. Credit to Ryan Pace, actually. Coming off an ACL injury, only played one game. No one knew how healthy, how productive he'd be. So the Bears signed him to a team-friendly deal. They told him, prove yourself. It's a prove-it deal. Prove to us that you're still capable of being that 1,500-yard wide receiver. And sure enough, after missing a couple of games in 2018, he's proven it. 1,147 yards, 2019, 2020, 1,250. He's shown to everybody that he's a capable wide receiver. A true WR1. So again, I ask, why is there hesitation to pay the guy? Now, I'm happy the Bears franchise tagged him. And we'll get to why that's very important in just a second. But I'm just perplexed. I don't get it. And I've seen a lot of Allen Robinson hate. Seriously, on Twitter especially. Why? What do you have against the guy? He is the most productive Bears wide receiver since Alshon Jeffrey. And Jeffrey was hurt more than Robinson. So maybe Brandon Marshall then. But even Marshall got hurt in his last year. Coming off his second best season of his career. Yards-wise. Receptions-wise, number one. 102. Each year in a Bears uniform. He's had more and more receptions, more and more yards. It's improved every year. Is that not a sign that maybe you should pay him? What do you look for in someone you want to pay? You look for consistency, improvement. How much does he mean to the team? What does he do for the offense? Robinson checks every box. And here's the kicker about Robinson. Quarterbacks need him. He doesn't need quarterbacks. Let me explain. Amari Cooper. He's a great wide receiver, right? Undoubtedly the number one in Dallas. When Dak Prescott got hurt, his numbers took a tumble. Not saying he's a bad wide receiver. I am saying, though, Like many other receivers in the NFL, he's highly dependent on the quarterback that throws it to him. If there's a backup in, if his guy isn't on the field, he won't produce. Or he will, but not at the level that he did before. That's a fact. Robinson always produces. 2 different quarterbacks in 2020. Robinson had the best season of his career. And these aren't 2 good quarterbacks. These are 2 bad ones. You're dealing with Mitch Trubisky and Nick Foles, and you put up 1,250. Eclipse 100 catches. How in the world is that possible? And if he stays, chances are there's going to be a 3rd quarterback now into the mix. So really, 3 different quarterbacks, and you're putting up top 10 wide receiver numbers. It proves to me that no matter who the quarterback is, no matter what team he's on, as long as Robinson is on the field, he'll produce. He'll come through. That's what I love about him. That's what people really don't understand. Wide receivers, for the most part, are carried by their quarterbacks. They have the wrong quarterback, they're better off not even being in the NFL. There are very few who just produce, no matter who the quarterback is, no matter what the situation is. Robinson is one of them. Quarterbacks need Robinson. Robinson doesn't need quarterbacks. To me, that's impressive. That's worthy of an extension, of real money going his way. So he'd be different if he was like Amari Cooper. The Bears make the quarterback switch and all of a sudden loses targets, can't put up yards. And I'd say, yeah, there's a problem. I wouldn't even franchise tag him at that point and let him go. But he's proven, time and time again, that it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter who's on the field. He just produces. He's just really good at his job. Shouldn't he be rewarded for that? Shouldn't the Bears pay him fair market value for that production? You gave the guy an impossible situation. Come on, let's be honest here. Would you, as an NFL wide receiver, want to walk into a situation like the Bears? No clue who the quarterback's going to be. Washed up veteran. Mitch Trubisky still trying to prove himself. Head coach in the way. That's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for anybody. Team morale, as it is, was shot. Now we're talking about on the field performance and worries about targets and yards and receptions. Robinson rose up to the occasion. That, to me, makes him worthy of $20 million a year. 15 to 20, whatever it is. If you're able to perform, no matter who the quarterback is, if quarterbacks want you, not you wanting the quarterback, you have talent and you're a legitimate wide receiver. No doubt, no question. You're legit. You're not dependent on anybody. You just perform. You're just good. Robinson is just good. And he should be getting fair market value. Now, here's the good thing about the franchise tag. It's a signal. For those of you who watch and listen to this show, you know what signaling is. If you don't, I'll refresh your memory. Signaling is indirect actions that explain direct things. So, for example, if you have a college degree, the piece of paper means nothing. It's a piece of paper. But it signals to employers, hey, this guy made it through 4 years of school. He's dependable. He's responsible. He accumulated some skills while in college. So the Bears retaining Robinson and trying to find a way to extend him, that's a signal to potential free agent quarterbacks, to trade targets. It tells them, hey, you're not going to come here with no weapons. There will be something, and there could be more. That's a positive. Now when Russell Wilson looks at the Bears, he won't think, oh my goodness, that's a train wreck. I sure as hell don't want to go there. Now we'll say, well, there is a number one. Darnell Mooney isn't bad. If they get one more receiver, I'm set. Same with Watson. The guy lost DeAndre Hopkins. He's not going anywhere if they don't have a number one. Why would he want to do that again? Struggle through a season with no legit wide receivers. Now the Bears could tell them, hey, we do have one. Mooney's on the up and up. We could sign another or trade for another. Pretty good marketing pitch. This will attract more quarterbacks to Chicago. So everybody react to Allen Robinson saying, now do the quarterback. Now do the quarterback, Bears. That's the correct response. It should have been, though, now you can do the quarterback. If the Bears didn't keep Allen Robinson, it'd be 10 times harder to find a quarterback. I'm not kidding. I know Darnell Mooney's talented, but seriously, is that your pitch to a quarterback? Hey, we do have Darnell Mooney, 5th round pick, did okay last year. He'll be your number one. No one would want to come here. You need to have something. May not be a lot, but it's something. Would it be nice if the Bears had Robinson and another legit wide receiver? Sure. Robinson and Mooney is not a bad start, and it could get better. That's the pitch that I would be doing if I were the Bears right now. We have a legit number one. He performed under Mitch and Nick Foles and did great. We have a number two who showed promise. We could get a number three. Still to be determined. You want to come here? That's the way you have to approach this thing. That's why I'm happy they tagged him. They should get a long-term extension. 4 years, I'd say. That's about right. 27 years old, give him 4 years. I guarantee you 3 out of those 4 will be productive. And that's a conservative estimate. Could be more. Could be all 4. Could be a 5-year deal. But there should be an extension worked out for Allen Robinson. The point is, he deserves it. I know you might be worried about age and injuries, but the fact is, the guy's performed. Missed a couple of games in 2018, healthy 2019, 2020, put up great numbers. Why is this still a question? Why are we still worried about this? Why is Ryan Pace just waiting? Allen Robinson wants to get even here. And I don't blame the guy. He took less money to come to the Bears. No one wanted him. Coming off an ACL tear, he did have to prove himself, and he knew that. And he bet on himself to come to Chicago. He's proven to everybody he's a great wideout. He could perform no matter who the quarterback is, which is rare. He's been healthy. Nagging injuries haven't left him behind. He's been great. And the Bears profited off of his performance. They paid him nothing. Not nearly to what he's worth today. So yes, Robinson, whether you like it or not, has a point. Everybody's sitting here criticizing Robinson for being so vocal and so public about his demands. I don't blame the guy. He's done his time. He knew he wouldn't get paid after the ACL tear. He knew he had to take a team-friendly deal to even get a chance. He bet on himself to be great again. And he did it. He performs no matter who the quarterback is. He isn't dependent on a quarterback. Quarterbacks depend on him. Very few receivers are like that today. So instead of criticizing and saying, why is he so public? This is annoying. I would say, well, I get the point. Pay the guy. I mean, it's like he won blackjack and Vegas just won't pay him. They said he cheated or something. The guy won. Bet on himself, won. Put up big numbers. I would argue he was even sabotaged. Not intentionally, but this past year, 2 different quarterbacks, 2 different people, both of them horrible. Still put up a career year. Pay the guy. What more do you need to see if you're Ryan Pace? And I'll tell you, if it's taking this long, if you're still wondering, gee, I wonder what we should do, release him. Let him go. Trade him. It's pretty obvious to everybody what the right decision is. It's just a matter of the Bears deciding to bite the bullet and pay Allen Robinson what he's worth. More to come here on Sports Talk Chicago. My interview with Scott Merkin comes up next, so stay tuned. Hey, do you want to make some money this weekend? What if I told you I could offer you $250 free to bet on any game you want? Here's what you have to do. Go to sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. You must be 21 plus. You must be an Illinois resident. You could bet $250 free on any game you want for this upcoming weekend. NHL's back. March Madness, NBA. Great time right now to put down some money, win a whole lot more back. At sportstalkchicago.com/cash, sportstalkchicago.com/cash. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.